How you doing, baby? Happy Friday. And today on Coffee and Conversation with your girl, Shakenya. When you get a minute, go to that YouTube channel, Shakenya, and hit subscribe. Look at some of the videos. And if you see any of them that you like, please just hit share. Yep. We in Club Kiki with it today. I'm not gonna bore you with my list of things to do. But my house is always the last house to get worked on. So when y'all be seeing me out in people's houses and these buildings and doing this, I usually when I get home I be tired, so my house is falling apart. So I'm working on my house little by little. I'm taking time before I leave out to go to work on somebody else's property to do something in my own house. And then when I come home before I go to sleep, I try to stay up an hour and do something. So that's why everything is all on the pool table. Because I'm working on the room back here. I'm about to finish with the drywall on this side. And then y'all look, I'm going to cut. Today's a lecture. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm hurry up. But I'm going to cut this in half. And I'm going to open them up. And I want to glue them on this wall right here. I'm going to paint them. Probably gold or something, and I'm gonna glue them on this wall because this is where the bar gonna be. The bar gonna be on this side. So I want this to be the background up under the shelves that I keep the liquor on. So that's what I'm gonna work on today, and I'm gonna put the shelves up today. And then y'all look. This, remember I told y'all for the closet, I want it to be like white, pink, and gold. So I found this. So it's cheap, I got it from the dollar store. But I just want to see what it look like. But I want to put this on the paneling, and I'm gonna see what it look like. Because this is exactly what I envision. So if I have to spend more money and better quality, I will. Like if this doesn't stick, but if I put it up there and it look good, I'm gonna roll with it. I'm gonna roll with it, y'all, and I'm gonna get more, and I'm gonna put them all up because that's the idea, and that's what I'm looking for. So y'all, today it ain't gonna be quick. Gonna get you some zooms and whams and come on back, cause I'm going to try to get through as much as I can today. Make sure y'all get a copy of my book, Dysfunctional Family Knot. Yeah, go to lulupublishing.com or go to Amazon. I know your girl wrote a book. I know. Ain't that crazy? But I did it. You ever thought about writing a book? Yeah, you should. Yeah, if people tell you you should write one, or if you always got a feeling of you should say something because of what happened to you, maybe you can help somebody or something like that. Yeah, you should think about it. Yeah, I think everybody got a story to tell. Yeah, it's up to you if you want to share it or not, but I really think everybody has a story to tell. So, yeah, this is mine. So, help us out. So, y'all know we're talking about those manipulation tips from your 9th grade year. Now that you're seniors, we're looking at all the manipulation, all after using the manipulation, the psychological damage and the adverse effect that it has on your baby. How it's affecting your baby. How's your baby growing and developing now? How's your baby's attitude, right? Mentally, how is your baby doing, without the mom or dad in their life, right? So we're looking at the fact that you use the manipulation tips. Yeah, it's one thing if the parent is absent because they're deceased, right? It's one thing if they're absent because they have some mental issues, but still there should be a relationship or some type of connection. Even if they're not in a state of being able to care for this child should still know that's their mother, that's their father. It should still be some type of loving relationship, some type of connection there, right? If the person is incarcerated, it should still be some type of connection there. This is your mom, this is your dad, right? No matter what. Unconditionally. Their love should be unconditional. So no matter what. So if there's no abuse or neglect, right, there should be a connection there with child and parent. So when you deliberately poison the relationship between a parent and a child, it's cruel and it's abuse. So we're talking about those manipulation tips for your 9th grade year. So I'm talking to you about all the ones that I think were done in my case, right? Because I still don't know. So I have to try to figure it out. So I have to go off of checks and balances. I have to go off of what adds up, and I have to go off what makes sense, right? And I have to put it all together to make it seem or understand what has happened and what has taken place. So so far we've come up with like 30 that I've known been used. It's been more, but we've only covered 30. So I pretty much gave you visuals of almost 27 of them, of how they could have been used, how you can use them, and I hope you don't, but how they possibly could have been used in my case. So, we're talking about making a difference. So we stopped at talking about making a difference in a lifestyle when they're trying to turn the child against you, get the child out of your life, poison that child to where they hate you just as much as they do, right? Or have a strong dislike for you. And none of this a child should feel for their parent. None of those feelings. Yeah, it's not natural. Yeah, if there's no abuse or neglect, it's not natural. So that means it's being taught. Yeah, a child shouldn't feel none of that for their parent, right? Because if you believe in God and you was raised in church, you know for a fact you're supposed to honor your mother and your father. It's in the Bible. It says something about your days to be long, something to that extent, right? So you taught that in church, right? So no matter what, you was taught that in church, right? So fix it, Jesus. Fix it. Like, my case is so bizarre because I'm a mom, right? So all your life, because I know all my life, so I'm probably all your life, you know, you are taught to respect your mother, right? You taught to love your mother. You taught to defend your mother, right? Fix it, Jesus. You know people to get beat up if they talk about somebody's mama, right? Fix it, Jesus. Fix it. Why don't none of that apply to me? Think about that. Why don't none of that apply to me, right? So, a child should never be separated from a mother. Yep. Unless it's in their best interest, meaning that they were being harmed or they were being neglected, they were being abused, right? But in most cases, yeah, a child should never be separated from a parent. I know when I was working with Orchard Children's Services, we had a close relationship with CPS. We had a program, a reunification program. So when we were put in place when a child was about to be removed, and our job was to find resources for this parent to make sure they fulfill the criteria to be able to keep this child in the home. So we did that. So if they fulfilled all of that, the child remained. And if the child was removed, same thing applied. We made sure they had all the resources they needed to make sure the child was returned. So it's always in there, the child never be separated from. It's unnatural. So you got to think about, in my case, for it to be forced. Because again, no abuse or neglect. So I was doing everything I was supposed to do. I got to throw that in there. Just so you would know. Yeah, I know you like, oh, this weirdo lady. No, I was doing the same thing you was doing. Probably doing a little bit more. probably doing a little bit more. Yeah, but doing the same thing you was doing. So, let's see. I can't see. I need to go over there and get that light. Mother... From the mother, unless, unfit, CPS, put in resources, yeah, so it's unnatural for a child to be ripped from the mother. So in my case, after all this is when yesterday when I told y'all, well, not yesterday, but the day before. Remember when I said if mine was actually a crime scene, it would be like an overkill. It would be like a crime of passion, right? This is it. For all of this to apply to a mother and for none of it to apply in my case, you got to understand how that doesn't add up. A lot had to be done for people not to look at none of this and apply it to me as a mother, right? I've been a mother since 17. Not only did I raise my own kids, but I took custody of my 2 little brothers and raised them after the death of my mom. Like, I've mentored so many other children. I have a youth program where I deal with children. Like, none of it adds up. If you think about it, every job I've held has been either a family service worker or working along CPS and social workers and DPS, Department of Human Services. Every job I've held has been helping families and providing resources. Even with attitude adjustment, I deal with children with behavior issues, right? So even when I go back to school to get my master's in psychology, I'm gonna open up a practice so I could. So you mean none of that? I can't fall up under nothing when it comes to a mother, like nothing. So fix it, Jesus, fix it. So how can that not apply to me? All this supposed to be, like everything that I've ever done should have been like my protection to secure my spot as mom. Yep, the way I live my life, things that I've done, decisions that I've made, right? Things that I'm doing now, right? Yeah, I should have something. I should have been in the running for her mama. Like if I was competing against another mama, like if I was competing with some other ladies to be her mama, like I should have at least been in the running. Like I should at least place somewhere. I know, cause carrying her and giving birth to her and raising her the way I did the time that I did have her didn't count. So I mean, yeah, I should have been able to place somewhere. I know, ain't that terrible? So. Protection, how could this be? Overkill. Y'all gotta get some light. I'm sorry, but I'm 51. And, yeah. And I think somebody got my little reading glasses. Yeah, y'all know those glasses that I bought from Miss Ford's shop? Her boutique. I wore them at an event, and I ain't seen them since. There we go. There we go, guys. That's the next thing I'm gonna get. I'm gonna get me some stands with the lights. Yeah, I'm gonna step my game up this year in January. Okay, there we go. There we go. So. Place to keep, involve, reconnect. So we always made sure that the parents reconnected, the mothers reconnected with the children if they were ever removed, because it's unnatural. If all this was supposed to be my protection, yep. Place, how could one of this apply to me? This is an overkill. I get no calls. I get no visits. Not even on a holiday. Fix it, Jesus. Fix it, Jesus. Who don't call their mama? Especially on the holiday. Right. Damn. Who don't come to see their mama when they come home? Like, that's usually the first stop. Yep, if you had a mama that raised you and was in your life and played a good part in your life, never abused you or neglected you, you pretty much tend to think of that mama. Like, so if you move away from home, that's tend to be the first stop. I'm going to go see my mama. And I'll holler at y'all in a minute, right? So, yeah. Don't call. Come see, spend holidays with. Yeah, and I made holidays so special. Yeah, because I always tell you we didn't have a lot of money, but just because we didn't have a lot of money, that don't mean that we still didn't enjoy the finer things of life. That don't mean that we still didn't live life, and that don't mean that we didn't do things, right? So yeah, we didn't have a lot of money, but we always enjoyed each other's company. We enjoyed each other. We always made the best out of whatever the situation is. And you got to keep in mind, we wasn't living in poverty. Right? We're living in poverty. Now, having a lot, not having a lot of money, it's all about how you look at it. So yeah, in my mind, I didn't have a lot of money, but you got to keep in mind, I was providing for 5 children. So whatever money I made was split in between those kids, and those kids had everything that they needed and some of the things that they wanted. So if you adding it up and you looking at it, if you just had one child and you add that money up, that's a lot of money. So I ain't never had a lot of money. I've always been good at managing. But they ain't never, my kids, we ain't never lived in no poverty. Yeah, no, none of that. Yeah, when my boys was little, I got a picture with a full-length mink on, right? Not the same as the one I got now. And that's not bragging. It's just letting you know that they were exposed to the finer things of life at a young age, right? They used to wear these little loafers, and I wasn't biting off of Gucci or nothing like that. I just got them because they were good loafers. They were good school shoes. They were good leather shoes, right? Just so happened they looked like Gucci. So every time people see my little boys, they swerving down that they was wearing Gucci. And I'm not going to just correct you if I don't know what you're thinking, right? But somebody had to let me know, oh, they got on them Gucci. They look like, oh, do they? Oh, my bad. I wasn't trying to copy because those shoes was expensive, right? But they were good quality shoes. Yep, and if you have multiple children, you got to spend bread on at least 1 or 2 pairs of their shoes, right? You might not let them wear them all the time, but they got to have a good quality shoe, especially little boys. So why wouldn't she feel that way about me? Like all the love and admiration that you have for your mom, right? Why wouldn't she have that? Yep, I didn't have what was that, postpartum? When you don't have an instant connection with your baby, I didn't have that, right? I love being a mom, right? So my kids weren't a burden, right? I don't care what we went through. Why wouldn't I'm very affectionate. Yeah, I not only tell my kids I love them, but I show them, and I'm very affectionate. Holding your hand, holding your arm, kissing you in your face in public type stuff, right? So, yeah, I don't know why she wouldn't feel the love. Why wouldn't... All that should have been missed, right? How could I have failed her so? Think about it. Yeah. Not using drugs, taking charge of my physical health and my mental health. I don't know. Not having too many vices, working, being responsible, adulting. I don't have no problem. How could I have failed her so? Accomplishing my goals. I'm doing everything I set out to do. From an author to a radio personality, promoting Black-owned businesses, my youth program. Everything I said I was going to do, I did. How could I have failed her? How could I have failed him as a baby mama? If our child was excelling. Yep. When she left me, she was going to her 11th grade year in Cass Tech. It was no need for her to leave me. But when she left me, that's where she was at in life. And now she's away at college. So, yeah. Fix it, Jesus. Fix it. How have I failed her for her to get so far with me? How I failed her. How have I failed him? Was doing what I was supposed to do. Because if I was doing everything I was supposed to do, what father would go so far to remove? Because for him to remove her mentally and physically from me, he had to use all those manipulation tips that I told you about. He had to lie, right? Fix it, Jesus. He had to not only convince that baby, he had to convince that baby not to love me. He had to convince this baby not to respect me. And he had to convince other people that the reasons for him doing what he did was in the best interest of that child. Can you imagine that? Fix it, Jesus. Fix it. Yeah. To get our way. Yeah, he had to justify that. So whatever he did, he had to make people feel like he did it for a reason. Yeah. And whatever he did worked. Because it's almost 6 years and there's no communication, no contact, no relationship, nothing. I'm not in her life. I don't know what's going on with her. I haven't done nothing for her. Haven't talked to her. Yep, I'm not thought of. I'm not relevant. It's nothing. And I still don't know what I did. Yeah. I still don't know what I did to her. Yeah. If you a parent that's always doing something abusive, neglecting, like you would know because y'all would get into it all the time. Y'all would be in court. CPS would be involved. It would be a reason why the child doesn't want to be with you. But for her to just, I don't want to live with you, and then that's it. It's cut and dry, and she with him, and no communication, no nothing. I have her now. That's not how you act when you have somebody that you sharing a child with. Yeah, I ain't never turned over my rights. I ain't never said that I want to be in her life. Everything I did was to show that I did want to be a part of her life, right? So, yeah, that's unfair to everybody involved. Yep. So, what I did to her for a dad to take such a stance. Yeah, dads usually don't get involved and call themselves taking their children away unless something happened to the mom and the mom is not able to do it. Yeah, ain't too many dads just outright trying to let me go take this baby. Let me take this baby from this mama because I can do a better job. Ain't too many dads doing that. Most dads know their place. And that's not to take nothing away from you, dad. That's not to say, but you know your place. There's no competition when it comes to a mother and a dad. It's none. It's none. I'm sorry, but it's none. Us mothers do so much. We multitask. We do so much. A dad steps in when he has to and he steps back out. He ain't going through the length of trying to remove a child. So when you don't have no proof and you don't have nothing to be able to take to court and take to CPS because this parent is a good parent, the only thing you have to go on is to poison that child and get that child on your team and get that child against that parent. That's the only way. That's the only way. So however way you make that happen, that's the only way. And usually if you have a good parent in this child's life, you have to lie, you have to be deceitful, you have to betray somebody. You have to do these things. You have to do some undermined techniques to change this child's mindset and how they feel about a parent, somebody they're supposed to love and hold so dear. Fix it. Jesus. Fix it. Yeah, so I have to figure it out. For my world to be upside down, for my children to be suffering from disorders, right? For me not to have control over certain situations. Come on now. Yeah, so I'm figuring it out. And for things to, it makes sense. It's certain manipulation tips that I know had to have been done. So we got as far as me giving you a visual of the last 28 of them that had to have been used. In my case, because I don't know too many daughters that's going to do a total disconnect from their mothers. Yeah, you might get mad at mom every now and then, right? Don't want to talk to her every day. Probably only talk to her once a week. Shame on you if that's you, right? But a total disconnect, your mama would have had to really do something to you for you to have a total disconnect from her. Period. So, yeah. Fix it, Jesus. Fix it, Jesus. So to feel like that, because your mom, that little holds weight. Yeah, so that title being mom, it should hold weight. So I know he had to make a difference with the kids. Because it was a total disconnect. That's the last technique we stopped on. Making a difference with the children. When you have children with multiple partners and they try to make it seem like their child is better than your child or whatever. Disconnect that child from their siblings. Call them that's your half sister, that's your half brother. When they do these things and make a difference out of the kids, I know he had to have done that because when she disconnected from me, she disconnected from them. No goodbye, no nothing. Yeah. So that let me know he had to have made her feel like she's better than them. They're beneath her. She don't owe them nothing. Not even a goodbye. Imagine that. Imagine her spending half her time with me and half her time with them. But the time she spends with me, she's spending with her siblings. And she's spending with her uncle. We're doing everything together. I'm teaching them to take care of one another. I'm teaching them to be supportive of one another. I'm teaching them to respect one another, right? Definitely the oldest. Her being the baby, she got 3 or 4 people that she owes something to and should be looking up to, right? Because I raised them that way. So for her to feel like she don't owe them nothing, ain't got to talk to them, no relationship whatsoever, a lot had to be done. A lot had to be done to make a child feel that way about people that they should love. She should love and respect all of them. Because they took such good care of her, right? Now, I want you to listen to the story because I want you to think about the morals and the values that's being taught and pulled out of this story. Right now, we at a point where you're looking at a child who owes something to some people and ain't paid back. Because you know these people right here. And don't get me wrong, don't nobody owe you shit in this life. Fix It Jesus, a Christian show. But in this case, when you got people that run to your rescue, when you lose somebody, you got people that's running to support you and comfort you. When you got people that come and show up, you owe them people. You owe them people, because if you don't go do the same and show the same or reciprocate it back, you just a user and you just taking. So if you got people that supporting your business, that supporting you and coming and showing up, and you ain't doing none of that for them, you a user. So I want you to think about certain things that's being taken. Yeah, so for her to disconnect from people that do that for her and have done that for her, yeah, that's not becoming a good person. It should be some loyalty there. Yeah. Somebody make you feel cause so much damage. Yeah, so yeah, that caused a lot of damage. A lot of damage. They don't see her, talk to her, beneath her, free, different, better. Nothing, no explanation, nothing caused so much damage because of how I raised them. That's why it caused so much damage. That's why a lot of the disorders was able to creep in. Yeah, I had built a fortress when it came to those disorders, baby. I was doing everything I could to make sure my children solved their problems, make sure they didn't have a build-up, right? Make sure they felt good about themselves, self-esteem. They knew their self-worth, right? They had opportunities. I created opportunities with the youth program and stuff, so they always felt a sense of doing something. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, oh my goodness. It was so much going on with us. Yep. So I know that was used, raised with the same. So the fact that I raised the children with the same morals and the same values, you got to make a difference with that. So if you're making a difference with these morals and values, the only thing that you can make a difference is it got to be the opposite. Fix it, Jesus. Fix it, Jesus. So it got to be the opposite. So everything that I instill, like for instance, if I instill respecting your elders, right? So if somebody's on the other side not encouraging her to respect her mother, which is somebody that she's supposed to be respecting, you know, first and foremost, right up under God, you know what I'm saying? Fix it, Jesus. Now you opening the door and you giving the child options to respect who they want to respect, when they want to respect them, if they choose to respect at all. Because you're taking the floodgate down. You removing something. That's supposed to be a blinder or something up. You know you got to respect your mama no matter what. But if you got somebody that's not encouraging them to do so and they feel like they don't have to, which shows within these last 6 years of me not having no relationship with her and not talking to her, that speaks volumes. No words, no nothing. That speaks volumes. So no respect whatsoever. Yeah, so now you got a child that's growing up, picking and choosing when they want to respect, who they want to respect, and how they want to do it. If they fix it, Jesus. Fix it, Jesus. So I'm real keen on integrity. Yeah, so my children had to be mannerable, respectful, they were well disciplined, right? Have a strong work ethic, right? Do what's right when nobody's looking. Right? And treat people how they want to be treated. So anything opposite of that is what? Right? So now you compromising those morals and values that has been taught. So if she using any of those morals and values, she should still have a connection with me, and she should still have a connection with her siblings. She should have a connection with her siblings and her uncle because they were raised with the same morals and values, and she definitely should have a connection with her mother because I instilled them. So right now you should be looking at the contradiction, you should be looking at confliction, you should be looking at confusion in this story that I'm telling you. You should be picking up on morals and values, and you should be picking up on what's the opposite of these morals and values that I just told you that I instilled in all my children. Because you gotta help me figure out why a dad would go so far to remove a child from an environment like that. So if it ain't hatred, jealousy, still mad, scorn, bitter, trying to get back at you, then what is it? So maybe you can pick something out. So the children I still have contact with, they still possess these morals and values. Yeah, my children still mannerable. My son still say yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Right? Fixing Jesus. So she still be connected. I still them. To me, common sense, because that's the common sense way, and that's the natural way of things. So the other day we touched on making a difference in the lifestyle to sway the child away. If you're trying to make a child seem, if you're trying to make a parent seem unfit or make them seem as if they are unable to care for the child, you make a difference in the lifestyle. You make it seem like your lifestyle is better than the other parents. You make it seem like you can provide more. This is usually where competition comes in at. You buy the child something, they buy the child something even bigger and better, right? And this goes on back and forth. So then now they're competing with you for the love of this child, right? Instead of y'all working together, going half in on shit, y'all rather fight and cause discord and go back and forth and try to compete and try to fix it. Jesus. So to use this, some cases, they use some of the simplest things. So this is when your child, when I tell your child's growth and development is interrupted. This is when I tell you that your child usually lack common sense. This is when I try to tell you that your child is probably dumbed down because of the simplest things that they use to go against you and use as ammunition be so far off to where when your child grow up and get out in the real world, people looking at them like they crazy. They say stuff that's unrealistic, right? So, fix it, Jesus. I know she would say stuff about their computers. They had 2 and 3 computer screens at the house. And, you know, all you got is, I know one day she wanted to go over there to do some work. And all you got is a laptop, you know. But they got 2 computers. And so, that my laptop do the same thing that 2 computers do. You only going to be on one screen at a time for what you got to do. So that, but he can make a difference out of that. And I'm quite sure he probably did because she mentioned it more than one time, right? So to make a difference out of that, to make that be the reason or the basis for a child not to love a parent or want to be in a parent's life, how stupid is that, right? And see, the stupidity comes out when your child gets older and having conversations with real people, right? So when they come from under they safety net with those morals and values that they teach you, right? They get out here in the real world. So yeah, so for her to make a big deal out of that, that shouldn't have made a difference. First of all, he's into computers. I would expect for him to have 5 screens somewhere, right? I'm not. I need one laptop to do what I got to do. I take it everywhere I go. I flip it out. My office is wherever I open my computer, right? That's all I need. And that's all she would have needed to do whatever project she needed. But he could make that seem like a big deal. So, fix it. Jesus, fix it. They have to show that they have a better lifestyle. They living better. Yeah, the fact that we had both computers should have been suffice. They living better. This had to, I know this had to be used. Yeah, the competition. Yeah, if we both worked, we both had a lot of similarities. So I know this was probably hard. So I can't even imagine the things that he possibly could have used to make a difference in the lifestyle to make it seem like they was doing so much better than us. Because if y'all know me, y'all already know, you know, they were driving Benzes, him and his mama. And I went through the whole Range Rover family. Y'all probably seen me in my X5 when I had the BMW truck. Y'all seen me in the Land Rover. Y'all seen me go through the whole thing. Yeah, y'all seen me go to a journey when I started doing a jail tour for the girls because I was transporting the girls to Ypsilanti. So I had to jump into something a little more economical for the program, right? So for the most part, I know it had to be hard to try to make a difference in the lifestyle because I'm still living somewhat how we were living when I was married to him. So the same morals, the same values, some of the same way of life, some of the same parenting style. But you got to make a difference in that. Fix it. Jesus, fix it. Fix it. So yeah, so we should have had a lot of similarities. We both worked. We both were head of household. We both taking care of our homes, anything break, paying all the bills. We both did that. So we should have had more similarities than differences. But when you try to get a child away from a parent, you have to create. That's why they lie. That's why they use all the manipulation tips. But you have to do that. For a child not to have nothing to do with you, don't call you, you don't see your baby for years. It's been 6 years. Who would want to cause me so much pain? Why would that baby want to cause me so much hurt and pain? Ask yourself. Ask yourself that. Because I've been hurting ever since she left. I have been in pieces ever since. My heart is in a million pieces ever since she left. Why would she want to cause me so much hurt and pain? Yeah, think about that. A mother that shows up to parent-teacher conferences, a mother that get up and take you to school, pick you up, take you to practice, attend your games, attend your award ceremonies, be there for you whenever you need, whenever you call, stop what you're doing. I had to stop what I'm doing a couple times just to take her something at school that she don't forget. Stop what I'm doing, come all the way across town and drop it off to her. Something that I probably told her, make sure you put it in your bag. But that's the type of mama I am. That's the type of mama. Yeah. Fix it, Jesus. Fix it, Jesus. So yeah, so they got to make a difference in your lifestyle. How your house look, they can use that. If they got newer furniture, they'll use that. Again, some of the simplest things they'll use to tear that relationship up between you and that baby. This can't be a reason for a baby to be taken out your life. Just because your house needs to be repaired. Just because you ain't got no new furniture. Just because you only got one computer and not two. Like, fix it, Jesus. The only difference can be made is if the parent is unable to care for that child. Meaning they're living in a squabble. They're living in a shelter. They're living in a home that's falling apart. There's no running water. There's no lights and gas. That would be the only reason I would feel a father would take such an initiative to remove a child. And even if that is the case, the connection still should be there. That child should still know that that's their mother. That child should still have the same love and respect for that parent, even if they cannot stay with them and not in their care at that time. There should be, for me, I don't have nothing. Say that. You gotta hear me say that. No, nothing. Soon as she went to stay with him, it was an instant disconnect. So that means that it was a build-up. That means that this had been going on behind my back all this time. For it to be an easy transition, kids usually be kicking and screaming when you remove them from their parent. I've witnessed it. Especially their mama. They be kicking and screaming when you remove them from their mama. So in order to make a difference in the lifestyle, they have to also make a difference in what you do, your job. They have to show that you're unfit and unable to care for that child. So if you always somebody that be on hard times, always broke, they can use that to their advantage. Even if your broke is after you pay all your bills, you got just enough money to get back and forth where you gotta go. They can look at that as broke. They can use that against you, because if this is all you got, as soon as the baby asks for something and you say no, that's ammunition. I know, ain't that crazy? I know. So let's see. I'm trying to finish up. Living better. This can be hard. We had a lot of similarities. Care, blood, bills, everything. Had a household. Looks, never furniture, blah, blah, blah. Can this be used as a reason? Blah, blah, blah. Squatting, no water, no electricity, blah, blah, blah. They have to make a mockery of what you do, your job, how you live in, and how you was raised. Yep, they got to talk about how you was raised. So I'm quite sure the fact of my mom being on drugs was probably brought up a lot of times. Yep. He probably didn't bring up the fact that I had my aunties, my grandmothers, and I was raised by my great-grandmother too. All of them was in my life, and my great-aunt. So he probably ain't going to add that in. So yes, Lord took my mom away. Yes, my mom was using drugs. So yes, she was not doing what she's supposed to do as a mom all the time. But I had so many women in my life to guide me and raise me and make sure that I stayed on the straight and narrow, and made sure that I had everything that I needed as it relates to how I'm supposed to be as a woman. But I'm quite sure he left all that out and dwelled on the fact of my shortcomings probably came from the fact that I didn't have a mother in my life because my mom was on drugs. So you got to be careful when you try to make a difference in the lifestyle of the parents, because if that was a narrative and if that's something that he used in his manipulation tip, he would have to include the fact that his daddy was on drugs. He would have to include that the fact that his daddy struggled with drug addiction and drug abuse. He would have to include that. So if we're keeping points here and we're keeping score, you can't be better than. Because in your case, that will put you less than, because the fact that your father wasn't in your life, you didn't even have no men that really stepped up and took care of you and raised you and taught you what you was, taught him what he needed to know as a man. So that would put him at a disadvantage, right? I know he won the baby though. Ain't no way this nigga don't won the baby. Ain't no way he could have won the baby. So let me see. Brought up, blah, blah, blah. So he had to be changed, had to live a life idea. Man, we got a whole nother side. So he would have had to dog everything that I was doing and working on, right? Let's take the youth program, for example. So like I told y'all, this is when your baby get dumbed down. This is when it interferes with their growth and development. Everything was interrupted. The youth program, I had to situation I needed from a problem I had. So the fact that I created a solution to a problem that I had, meaning that when I had problems with my little brother and there were no programs out here to help him, I created one. So I created attitude adjustment, and I deal with children with behavior issues. And I provide the services that's needed before a child goes to jail or goes to juvie, right? So I try to step in place if they're acting out. That's the next stop for them. My program is put in place to try to stop them before they take it a step further and have to be put away. So I created that. So for her to be a part of the program from the beginning, when there were no kids, for me to be on the news, for me to be getting referrals, for me to be in a resource binder at the youth court, for her to see that, for me to receive a plaque for the program, from the deterrence program, he would have had to have downplayed all of that. He would have had to dummy down that program. And that's easily done, believe it or not, simply by not showing any interest. Like, for instance, what if she got in the car and started talking about her journey going to the jail, listening to the ladies, being over the girls, in charge of the girls because she was a mentor, right? Afterwards, we would go get something to eat and have discussions about what they learned, right? So what if she get in the car with him when it's his turn to, get her on the weekend, and that's all she talking about, right? All he would have to do is downplay that, is just not show no interest. Turn the radio up, not ask no questions. Say stuff like, damn, she had you in the jail around them prisoners. That's unsafe, right? Throw little innuendos like that out. A child can grasp. And that right there can probably play into me not making good decisions. Having her in the jail, yeah. I'm not making good decisions. She's not safe. Yeah. He can draw up hysteria to make her feel like she's not safe when she go to the jail, to make her not want to be a part of the program. It's so many things that can stem from that, because again, I don't know. Yeah, so I don't want to say that that's what he did. I'm just letting you see how the manipulation works, how the manipulation tip works, how the perception is, how the children view things, how you can make the child see what you want them to see. Because all she would have seen on my end is growth. She would have seen no kids to where I'm on the news. That's all she would see, that she was a part of something. She was making a difference. She was making a change in her community. So it's so many positive things that she would have gotten off her own with the program without anybody planting seeds and disturbing her thought process. So yeah, y'all, I gotta go. We're gonna pick that up tomorrow because this is deep. You can't just do it in a couple minutes, right? And all this is destruction to your baby. I know, ain't that terrible? Why we can't all just get along? Oh, I'm so excited. I'm going to finish. Something's going to get finished today. I don't know what, but something's going to get finished today. I can guarantee you that. I'm excited about this wall because I'm going to put some lights. Since the other side of the wall is exposed, I'm able to play around a little bit. So I think I'm going to install some lights up under the tubing so it can light it up, the shelf, so you can see the shelves. I know I'm going to come back on when I do it, y'all. Yeah, I'm going to come back on when I do it. All right, I'm out.